Medical gaps don't have to be confusing. Here's how to explain them to your patients. Hi, I'm Ben Dudley, Managing Director of Zento. If you're a doctor in private practice, you've probably come across the term gap more times than you can count. But here's the thing, understanding how gaps work isn't just tricky for you, it's also confusing for your patients, especially when they end up with unexpected out-of-pocket costs. This can lead to dissatisfaction and even complaints, and that's the last thing you want. Let's break down what we mean by gaps. The term is used in different ways by different parties, which adds to the confusion. Let's start off by clarifying who pays what. The government publishes the Medicare Benefits Schedule, or MBS, which is an amount or a rate for every procedure. Medicare pays 75% of the MBS amount, and for patients who have private health insurance, the insurer pays 25% up to the MBS when the patient's insurance covers them for the procedure. For the health insurers, a gap refers to the difference between the MBS amount, which is paid 75% by Medicare and 25% by the insurer, and their own fee schedule. Essentially, it's the gap between what the insurer has to pay and what the insurer is willing to pay on top of that. However, when patients talk about gaps, they're usually referring to the out-of-pocket costs they have to pay themselves after Medicare and the insurer have paid their shares. These out-of-pocket amounts can vary widely depending on whether you participate in a no-gap or known-gap scheme with the insurer. Here's where it gets tricky. If you charge even a cent more than what the insurer's rules allow, the insurer will revert to paying only the MBS amount. This means the patient is left covering the entire difference between your fee and the MBS. It's important to be aware of these rules because they can significantly impact what your patients end up paying out of pocket. This is why you need to be aware of which schemes you've entered into with different health insurers. Each insurer has its own rules and these can change over time. Make sure your practice stays up to date with any changes to the schemes you participate in so you're not caught off guard and continue to provide accurate information to your patients. Another important step is to have standard procedures in place to check that your patient's health insurance cover is current before any procedure. This includes clearly disclosing to patients that their rebate is subject to their specific policy and that they should confirm with their insurer whether the procedure is covered. Finally, you must provide informed financial consent, or IFC. This involves providing the patients with a document clearly explaining what their financial responsibility will be before any procedure takes place. By giving them a written estimate that includes the potential out-of-pocket amount, you help them avoid surprises and understand what they're agreeing to pay. It's good practice to send the IFC well ahead of the date the procedure has been booked, to ensure the patients have time to review and consider this information and contact their health insurer if they have any questions about their coverage. Understanding and managing gaps is a key part of running a successful private practice. By taking the time to explain how gaps work and making sure your patients are fully informed about their costs, you can avoid misunderstandings, cancellations, unpaid accounts, and potential complaints. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to Zento's YouTube channel. We regularly post tips and information on topics relevant to practice admin and medical billing here in Australia.